Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, as a part of our education and curriculum, we are going to learn about table manners. Table manners sebenarnya ya, etika yang diperlukan buat kita semua. Memang tidak setiap malam kita pakai ya table manners, setiap makan gitu juga. Tapi biasanya table manners itu akan dipakai kalau kamu akan atau diundang makan resmi. Ya, maksudnya makan formal di restoran dengan pelayan yang melayani, kemudian ada menu segala macam. Nah, ini adalah table manners internasional. Tidak begitu jauh, beda jauh dengan table manners yang ada di Indonesia. Karena yang internasional,
sometimes you might just think of rules that you blindly have to follow just for the heck of it. But actually, that's not the case. At their core, manners are just about being considerate and respectful to the people around you. Table manners are particularly important because, well, let's face it, there's a lot more ways to gross someone out when you're eating with them. When you're slurping and chomping and burping and splattering versus with the same treated in the newspaper. Because of that, table manners have always been a good tell about someone's overall refinement, their upbringing, and their sort of sensitivity and kind of self-awareness around other people. So my thought is, even if you don't practice impeccable table manners at home, it is important to know how to behave properly for those important occasions. Today we're going to be talking about some easy-to-follow guidelines that will help keep your table manners on point throughout an entire meal. Sitting down at the table. So when you're just about to sit down at the table, that's a great time for you to silence your phone and put it away. You don't want to be that guy whose phone is going off during a nice dinner. The other thing you want to do is make sure to wait for everyone to gather around the table about to be seated before you sit down yourself. And you may want to take a cue from the host or hostess. The first thing you do when you sit down is really put your napkin on your lap. And in really formal settings, you would actually wait for an indication from the host or hostess to do this, but in most settings, you're probably safest just to put your napkin on your lap when you first sit down so you don't forget. Of course, it should never go in your shirt. You should keep it in your lap, but your napkin is your friend, so feel free to use it throughout the meal to blot your mouth and keep it clean. Body language. When you're sitting down, your posture should be upright. You should try to avoid, slouching or leaning way back in your chair. Keeping your elbows off the table. So this is kind of a misunderstood rule. Of course, it isn't acceptable to put your, elbows on the table while you're eating, and in general, you want to kind of keep your free hand on your lap while you're eating. But it is actually acceptable to put your elbows on the table in between courses and not eating. And particularly after the meal, if you're just enjoying conversation with the other diners, you can put your elbows on the table, lean in, and it's totally fine. The place setting. Oh, the place setting. Nothing gives people greater anxiety than the place setting. Just sit down, and there's all these glasses and plates and implements. You don't know what's going on. It's totally overwhelming. Now, the first thing you want to figure out is, where's my bread plate and where's my water glass? Because you don't want to be sipping off someone else's glass or stealing someone else's bread. So I like to use this trick that my friend Dave showed me. It's really handy. Just remember B and D. So B for bread and D for drink. And it always kind of tells you what side of it it's on. When it comes to understanding which glass is for what, honestly, you shouldn't have to worry